Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Retta, and on this space I have open, honest, authentic, heart-to-heart conversations on love, life, faith, and pretty much everything in between. Now I'm tempted to say a cool lockdown, but I know that some people are just not going to get the joke, so I'll just let that slide. But anyway, how are we coping with the lockdown? Here in the FCT, there's no movement at all, and it's not been easy, I must confess, but if that's what we have to do to defeat this COVID-19 pandemic, then we have to do what we have to do, right? Yeah, so we're coping just fine over here. So how are you guys coping? I hope you are washing your hands regularly. I hope that you are using your hand sanitizers regularly. I do hope that you're also observing social distancing. I mean, you're home, so of course you should observe social distancing. And I also hope that you are praying, that you are feeding your faith more than you are feeding your fear. Remember that as a believer in Christ Jesus, our hope is in Him, and it is our faith that overcomes the world. All right, let's not lose hope, let's not lose faith, let's not get weary. Let's trust God and let's hold on to His word. He's going to see us through this most assuredly. All right, okay, so today I'm going to be talking about relationships. Yay, relationships. And I'm going to be specifically discussing some things that people don't tell you about being in a good relationship. It's wonderful to be in a good relationship. Like, everyone deserves to be in a good relationship, but many times we just admire people from afar, people who have good relationships, and we do not know some of the things that make for a good relationship. And so when we see it, we just feel that it's something that you are rewarded for being a good person, for being a good guy, or for being a good girl, but it actually isn't entirely true. So I'm going to be letting you in on some secrets, some things that you probably don't know about being in a good relationship. Okay, but just before we dive in, this is also going to be uploaded on my podcast, Candid Talk with Retta, so you can head over to my podcast much later, probably by the end of today, to listen to this. So yeah, you can listen to my podcast on any podcast platform. Just search for Candid Talk with Retta. I'm sure you're going to have a good time. Happy listening. All right, so back to today's topic. 5 things that nobody tells you about being in a good relationship. 5 things that nobody tells you about being in a good relationship. The first thing is, even the best couples struggle. Even the best couples struggle. It's easy to admire a relationship from afar and feel, oh, these people seem to have it all together. Oh, these people seem, they adore one another, they love each other, which is good. Yeah. But what you do not know is, even the best relationships have issues. It takes a lot of work to make a relationship work. And I'm saying this specifically because there are people who feel like a good relationship would fall on them. There are people who feel, oh, well, I'm a good person. All I need to do is meet a good person and then we'll have a great relationship. It is awesome to be a good person. It is awesome to be a great person. It is even more awesome to get into a relationship with a wonderful person. Yeah. But the fact that 2 good people are in a relationship doesn't guarantee that that relationship will work. That relationship will crash, as a matter of fact, if they do not do the work required. It's just the way it is. Like, for a relationship to work, you have to work. So most people don't tell you how much work goes into a relationship. They don't tell you that. So you just see people and then you just feel, oh, you're going, ooh, you're oohing and eyeing and you're wishing and you're praying, and then you don't know how much effort goes into it. For me, you can say that I have what many people would describe as a good relationship. Yeah, and sometimes when some of my friends talk about, when we're gisting and they talk about my relationship and they're going, oh, I just look at them like, you don't even know Jack. You don't know how much work goes into this. Can you count how many times I've said work? Work. Because nothing good comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. So that relationship that you admire, that relationship that you desperately want for yourself, it doesn't come by wishing. The people in it actually put in a lot of energy to make it what you see. All right. The second thing that most people don't tell you about being in a good relationship is that staying committed is hard. Staying committed is hard. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer here. First of all, I'm not talking about marriage. I'm not married, so I can't advise people or counsel people about marriage. So don't compare this to being married, okay? Even though I do know that some of the things that I'm going to be saying would, to a reasonable extent, somehow be able to apply to marriage, but I just want to clear that out. I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about dating, romantic relationships. Okay. Another thing is that I'm specifically referring to good relationships, healthy relationships, not toxic relationships. So I'm not saying that you should work on a relationship that is bad for you. Please don't. I'm not saying that you should put in so much energy in a relationship that's not good for you. Please, if you're in a toxic relationship, if you're in an abusive relationship, please get out of it and get out fast. Okay? So do not misunderstand. Do not misinterpret. All right? So now let's just go back to the gist. Staying committed is hard. Staying committed is difficult. I always tell people that love is not something that you fall into. Love is something that you step into. It's a conscious decision. Many people think that, oh, the moment you have a good relationship, or the moment you have a good person or a good partner, it's not going to be difficult to stick with them. But it is difficult to stay committed to a relationship, because there'll be days when you won't just feel like staying, especially during the hard times, especially during times when this person is getting on your last nerve. There'll be times when you just want to up and leave. There'll be times when it'll just be like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me right now? There'll be hard times. Like, staying committed is hard. Like, naturally, as a human being, we want to explore. We want to try new things. And we want to sometimes, in the case of relationships, we want to try new people. Yeah? And it's difficult reminding yourself and trying to control yourself to stay with one person. It's not something that we're born with. It's a discipline. It's something that we learn. It's something that we build. It's a habit that we learn. So staying committed in a relationship is difficult. It's not because the person is good. It's not because the person is innately kind or innately trustworthy. Yeah, it's because this person or these two people in that relationship have made a decision to be committed, and they ensure that every single day, whether things are good or whether they're bad, they ensure that they stick with that decision. Yeah, because the truth of the matter is that you will meet people who are better than your partner. You'll meet cuter people. You'll meet people whose strengths are probably your partner's weaknesses. Yeah, like maybe, let's say for example, your partner doesn't know how to do stuff in the house. He doesn't know how to fix things. He doesn't know how, he just can't do anything at home. Yeah, he doesn't even know how to change a light bulb. And then you meet a guy who's very handy. He can even build a wardrobe on his own. He can fix, in fact, he can wire an entire house. Yeah. So it's hard to say, okay, you know what, my partner might not have this, or my partner might not be able to do this or be able to do that, but I made a decision to be with this person, and I'm going to be with this person. Yeah. So staying committed in a relationship is hard. Okay, staying committed is difficult. Yeah. So when you see people in a good relationship, just know that that every day they make a conscious decision to be committed, and that's not easy. Okay, number 3. Another thing that most people won't tell you about being in a good relationship, is that there are hard times. There are times that you just wish you could lift this person up, spin him. Now I'm talking like from a woman's perspective. Like, there are times that you wish you could lift this person up, spin him over, spin him. You know that stuff they do in WWE? Like, you just wish you could just spin him, raise him, turn him, then fling him somewhere. Because this person is driving you nuts. Yeah, it's you don't see this in fairy tales. Like, nobody tells you this nobody posts this on social media. Why would they? But there are times when this person just gets on your last nerve. There are hard times, even in the best of relationships. There are difficult times. There are times when you're trying to communicate, but you're both hearing different things. Like, you're trying to sort out a problem, you're trying to sort out an issue, and then this person is hearing something completely different from the message that you're trying to pass across. Yeah, let's say, for example, you guys are all lovey-dovey, you're having a chat, maybe over WhatsApp. You're having a chat, you're talking, you're laughing, you're gisting, and then your partner says something, and you're like, what's that supposed to mean? What do you mean? And then, before you know it, you're quarreling. It just like that. You're everyone, then you're saying things, you're blowing hot, you're saying things that you normally wouldn't say, and then you are hurt, and then the person is hurt, and then you're hurt that you're hurting this person, and then it's crazy. There are hard times, and there are times that you're trying to talk things through, you're trying to settle a particular issue, and then while you're talking about it, the person is angry about how you're saying what you're saying, and then you have an issue, or there was an issue, you're trying to sort out that issue, and then in the course of sorting out the issue, there's another issue, and then now you have a lot of issues. There are hard times. Don't let anyone deceive you. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. It's not always roses and love songs and chocolates. It's not always like that. There are hard times. There are difficult times. A relationship is made up of two imperfect people. People from two different backgrounds. People with two different upbringings. So there are issues. Okay, many times, in fact, some people just give up. Some people decide to stay and work on the issue. So there are bad times, even in the best relationships. Okay. The fourth thing that no one tells you, fourth thing that you probably don't know about good relationship, is that there's a lot of forgiveness. There's a whole lot of forgiveness. You keep forgiving. Sometimes you forgive even without the other person asking you for forgiveness. Sometimes you have to just let things go. Sometimes you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes and just let things go. Sometimes you have to be considerate. Sometimes you just have to assume, that the other person didn't do things a particular thing intentionally. Yeah, definitely there are things that you talk about. You do a lot of talking, there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of sorting things out, but there are times that you just let things go. There are times that you just overlook certain things. Like there are times that my partner will do certain things to me, and then I would want to just rave about it. And then and I would just decide, you know what, I'll just let this go, and then just act like it never happened. Just act like I wasn't mad about it. Sometimes I assess myself. I'm like, okay, what did I say to warrant this, or what did I do to warrant this person's response? Why is this person responding like this? Could it be because he's hungry? Could it be because he's tired? Could it be because he's having a hard time? Or could it be because of the issues that he's currently experiencing? Yeah, how can I is this the best time to talk about this? Is this the right time to talk about this? So there's a lot of consideration, there's a lot of forgiveness, a whole lot of forgiveness. Again, I am not talking about toxic relationships. Not that you'd say, because Loretta said there's a lot of forgiveness, and a guy who's always slapping you, beating you, kicking you, cheating on you, you say who doesn't respect you, will not take your calls, will not call you, please. Then you say you want to forgive him because Loretta said there's a lot of forgiveness. That's a toxic relationship. Please get out of it. Get out, and get out fast. Don't misquote me. So yeah, there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of forgiveness. You fight, you forgive. You argue, you forgive. You let things go. So yeah. The fifth thing that most people will not tell you about being in a relationship, a good relationship, is that communication is hard. Communication is hard. Now, I know that you've heard that communication is necessary for any relationship to thrive, which is true. But one thing that you probably don't know is that communicating is hard. Because men and women communicate differently. Like, you can be saying one thing and the man is hearing another thing. For women, we just want to talk. We just want to say how we feel, and we just want to be sure that you are actually paying attention. For the men, they just want to think things through. Yeah. And so you could be saying one thing and your partner is hearing another thing. You could be saying something, and because of, as a woman, and because of how emotional you are about it, you're saying it in a way that the man feels is disrespectful. You're saying it in a way that the man feels you're not being considerate. Yeah, so communicating is hard. It's really hard. It takes a lot to be able to sit down and talk things through in a relationship. So yeah, that's another thing that you probably don't know. But then you work through it. What will you do? You have to communicate. It's essential. Okay, the final thing that I have listed here is a good relationship amplifies your imperfection. A good relationship amplifies your imperfections. Now, I know that you've heard that a good relationship brings out the best in you, which is true. Which is really, really true. It's actually true. But another thing that it does is that it reveals who you are, who you truly are on the inside. Like, it takes a good partner to say, this thing you're doing is, why do you do this? Why? Like, when you have a good partner, the person can just look at you and tell you, you're fond of doing this. You should stop it. You should work on it. When you're in a good relationship, because there are issues, because there are hard times, it kind of brings out who you really are on the inside. Like, take for example, I didn't know I was a pessimist. Like, I didn't know I was extremely pessimistic until I got into a relationship with my current partner. And to me, it was just my normal way of living. It was just, I didn't even up until the time I got into the relationship, I didn't even know that there was such a thing as pessimism. And so I'll just say stuff, or maybe when we're arguing, I'll just say stuff to him. I'd say things that I expected him to do as a result of our argument. And he'll look at me and say, stop expecting bad things from me. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to be that cruel to you. It's an argument. It's a problem. It's an issue. Yeah. It's just an argument. Yeah, it's just a disagreement. Why do you constantly expect me to do bad things to you? Why do you constantly expect the worst from me? And I didn't know up until that point that it was a problem. Like, even sometimes I would want to do something, or I would want to start stuff, or venture into something, and then I'll begin to say 101 things, 101 reasons why that stuff I want to venture into will not work, and I'll begin to say 101 things that could possibly go wrong. And then he'll look at me and say, you should stop thinking like that. Why do you always expect bad things to happen? Yeah, so when you're in a good relationship, it kind of, as much as it brings out the best in you, it also shows you who you really are. It also shows you who you really, really are. So basically, when you see people in a good relationship, just know that they have seen each other's imperfections. They have seen it, but they have decided to stick and to stay there regardless of those imperfections. Yeah, so I said 5 things that nobody tells you about being in a good relationship. The first thing I mentioned is that even the best couples struggle. I also said that staying committed is hard. I said that there's a lot of forgiveness. I said that there are hard times, and then I said that communication is hard. And also I mentioned that a good relationship amplifies your imperfection. So that's the show for today. I hope you learned a thing or two. For those of you looking to get into good relationships, I want you to go with the mindset that you should be. I want you to go into it with a willingness to put in the work. Go into it with a willingness to put in the work, so that you don't go with unrealistic fairy tale expectations. I hope that this video is a reality check for you. I do want as many women, because I'm actually very I'm very interested in women. Did I say very interested in women? Not in the way you're thinking, but I'm actually care about women. I'm all about women empowerment and stuff. So I care about women. I care about their emotional health. I care about the decisions that they make. So I want you to go into it with a willingness to put in the work. I want you to go into it without these high and lofty expectations. Watch out for a related video. I'm going to be talking about 5 signs that you are in a good relationship, so that you know what to look out for in a good relationship. Thank you so much for watching. This video is actually longer than I'd planned, but I know that it's worth it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Do leave a comment if you have if you have some points to add. And you can also, or if you have some feedback, basically, you can also send me a personal message at hello@rettajera.com. Yeah, just talk to me. I really would love to hear from you. Don't forget to keep praying for the world, and wash your hands. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in my next video.